Hello, everybody. It is Monday, and I hope that your week has started off amazing. I know for me, my day has been like crazy. Seriously, it really has. But as you guys know, you guys, thank you so much for hopping on. Do us a favor and put in the chat where you're joining us from, because I would absolutely love to give you a shout out. And you guys know I love to give you shout outs. So put in the chat so I can give you a shout out. Yesterday we had people watching from South Africa. The day before, we had people from Australia. I'm like, God, this is crazy to me. So do me a favor and put. I had some Texas girls come on. I had some people from Georgia, South Carolina. I mean, Shoaib, it's been amazing, and I'm being honest with you. And so you guys do us a favor and put in the chat where you're joining us from. But as I told you guys before, um, I have been blessed to have people smarter than me that do greater things than I probably would ever get a chance to do, but they have decided to pour back into me. And tonight I have the pleasure of having the president of Nubia Filmworks, who is the production company behind Dr. Gail on Love, Sex, and Marriage on here. And when Sean, which is the casting director that I had the pleasure of talking to on Saturday, introduced me to him, it was like this calm that came over me, like literally a calm that came over me. Hi, Anita from Little Rock, Arkansas. I appreciate you for joining on, and thank you so much for putting it in the chat. You guys, thank you so much for joining me. My YouTube channel is hot, and I know you guys are joining me on my Facebook page, so please put in the chat where you're joining me from. I appreciate you guys. But there was a piece that came over me, and when we got off with him after we talked, right? I told Sean, I said, he's the one. And Sean was like, well, we gotta, interview some other people. I said, no, I'm telling you, he's the one. And so long story short, Shoaib, thank you so much for saying yes to this vision and to this dream. I appreciate you. And I want to introduce to the world who is behind me and who is making this dream come to fruition. Hi, Heather. How are you? Hello, John from New Hampshire. I appreciate you guys for hopping on. Heather, please tell me where you're joining me from. I would love to give you a shout out. I appreciate you guys. And so tonight, I just, again, I'm coming on here to just introduce you guys to the brilliant people who are helping me make the dream and the God-given vision come to life. And so, Shoaib, just jump in and tell the people about the vision that you have for the show.
Well, first of all, I want to say hello to your audience. It's a pleasure and honor, Gail, to be with you in this great forum. My name is Shuaib Mitchell, and as you mentioned, I am the president of Nubia Filmworks LLC. I am a professional film producer, director, been in the business over 35 years, and have had the blessing and the honor to produce over 4 feature-length motion pictures, documentary films, and TV shows. And so when I was introduced to you, and I was able to watch some of your YouTube videos, and Sean told me a little bit about the concept. I was just blown away, and it's something that I've really ventured into the reality TV space.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of stay in dramatic, as I said, motion pictures and documentary films, but this was a kind of reality show that I felt was beyond the norm, something that I could maybe lend some help to, and something I definitely wanted to be a part of. And so it was a no-brainer from the time once I did my due diligence, looked it over, said, man, I'd love to be a part of this if I could be of any help. And so here I am, and I thank God for you and the wonderful team we put together as well. And so I look forward to talking to the audience.
Okay. Anita says, greeting, Mr. Mitchell. Bryant, guys need sex like women need food, but we don't get it. Heather, thank you for watching from California. Brian, you a mess. But anyway, I just wanted to I've had quite a few people who have came on when we've had these chats and we're just talking about, I'm in a sexless marriage, or, we're having some complications when it comes to sex, but, one of the parties, one of the spouses wouldn't be comfortable coming on talking about that. Well, I just want to let you guys know that this show is just not about sex and sex problems. Yes, I am a sexologist. Yes, do I talk about sex all the time? I do, because again, when I was struggling in this space, and I was going to church and hearing all this stuff, I felt like I needed to be ashamed because I was struggling in this space. And so I did not see what I needed in the church. So God allowed me to create it. So I am a Christian, but I do talk about sex, right? So, but I want people to know, don't be stifled because of the title of the show. If you have other things going on in your marriage, we want to address those things too. We want to address infidelity. We want to address blended families. We want to address anything else that is going on in your family. Now, if you're having any sex problems that has manifested because of a lack of communication, we're going to address that too. So I just don't want people to think that this whole show is just about sex, 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 because that is not the case. Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow. Watching from West Australia. Thank you, Western Australia. Wow. Isn't that crazy?
That's a blessing. I'm telling
Isn't
you.
it a blessing? It is. So hopefully we'll get that show over there too. It'll be worldwide.
Yes, ma'am.
But yeah, that's crazy. But so I told you, Shawave, like, this is mind blowing to me. And the reason why it's mind blowing to me, and I tell this story, since I've been doing the last two, is
Mhm.
that my husband spoke worldwide on my life when I was really acting a fool. He said, if you would just go on, he said, you use social media for everything, but if you would go on and tell the truth about how real people behave behind the scenes, and then they get on social media and act like they get, but so I went live and told my stuff,
Mhm.
and it's been a blessing ever since, because look, Australia's on here, we have California on here, we have New Hampshire on here. Like, this is crazy. Little Rock, Arkansas. This is it's just a blessing to me. But if you guys are on here and you really need help in your marriage, please go to drgailtvshow.com, and if you can't remember, it's at the top of the screen right here. So Shaway, just tell the people, if you're a man, because like I said, we I have a lot of men that are like Johnny on here and Brian on here, and that are looking at this and really want the help, but might be stuck, because I know you guys, it's harder for you to talk about difficult things. Most men are just not forthcoming like us women are. I'm not saying all men, but most men are not.
Well, that has always been an issue for men. Um, we in my I have a in my church group, we run a men's ministry.
Hmm.
Um, it's called the Men of Honor.
Okay.
We're getting together for 12 years now. Straight every Tuesday night, 6:30, we meet online.
Hmm.
Used to be face to face, and you'd be surprised at how men will talk.
Mm.
We discuss everything. There's nothing that's taboo in our group.
Hmm.
It's because we have a code of honor. We have a Men of Honor pledge, in which the last part of that pledge is that I will do everything within my power to keep my brother's personal matters in the strictest of confidence.
Hmm.
And so, because we keep that over the 12 years, believe it or not, even we in the church, no one has ever had their personal matters spoken of outside of that group.
Hmm.
That's amazing. When we first got together, it was difficult. I
Hmm.
bring that up because it's a myth that men won't talk. It's a myth that men don't have feelings and don't share their emotions. Is that we have to feel comfortable that
Okay.
our information is not going to be abused, that we're not just going to come back and
Mhm.
our wives of our spouses will bring it up in an argument,
Mhm.
be combative with that information where that vulnerability will be exploited,
Okay.
or in the case of another male or female, that the confidence between us has been broken. And
Okay.
so once they feel comfortable, once they can feel that comfortability, they will be more open to do so. And so in a forum like what we're talking about, a man really has to feel that, okay, I am sharing a portion of myself to help other men, and that this situation, my wife later, those who I love, those around me, won't later use it as a weapon
Okay.
against me. That's the key.
Okay.
And I think that that's where we have to get with whatever couples certainly volunteer to do this in
Okay.
terms of the pre-counseling preparation for the show,
Okay.
the kind of guidelines that must be adhered to, and they must not be violated. Um,
Okay.
and I'll share something personal if I can. If I,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're just here having a conversation. And I just really want men to feel comfortable
yeah,
and know that, to be honest with you, 60% of my practice is when men have reached out to me,
mm,
right?
yeah,
Most of the time, people think it's the wives that are reaching out. No, I
mhm,
have a lot of men that reach out to me and bring their wives, and I feel honored, right? And when I But I don't want men to shy away because it is reality TV, because I, like you said, we want to create the environment where you feel safe.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So
So
I'll
go ahead
share
and
a
share.
personal experience.
Hmm.
It was several years ago. I was in my late 20s. I
Hmm.
was dating a woman that would later be my first wife. We were dating at the time.
Hmm.
I had just lost a job, and I was feeling really, man, I was going through it. A
Hmm.
job that I enjoyed, and I had to transition. And so
Hmm.
I was laying over at her apartment. We were
Hmm.
on the couch, laying and relaxing, and I was just getting upset, and I began to cry.
Hmm.
Right, man, this thing is just bothering me, man. I'm just so upset. And she said to me at the time, "What are you crying for? Crying like
Oh.
some little girl. And big picture. Oh yeah, yeah. That's the kind of." And so I immediately and I said, "Now, luckily, I am a." I put this. I would never hit a woman. Put it that way. I was
Hmm.
trained and
Hmm.
taught differently. But man, I felt like, so I'm gonna show you I'm a man.
Hmm.
You want to? Who you
Hmm.
talking to? You think you talking to? So I immediately, of course, clammed up, straightened
Hmm.
up. Said, okay, cool. Left her apartment,
Hmm.
and from that day, I never trusted her again with my personal feelings. I mean, my deepest personal feelings.
Hmm.
See, a man will only allow you to be violated once.
Mm.
That's it. You get one chance.
Okay.
Some will never give you the chance because of a previous relationship.
Okay.
Fortunately, I was able to get over that.
Hmm.
As I said, she was my first wife. Me and my wife I have now, we talk about everything because she has never violated, not once, my trust. So again, a man has to have that. It's very important because it's you must understand this. This is why a woman can have a variety of issues. A lot of things can be going on, but she's always a woman.
Hmm.
A man can have certain things that are going, just as I mentioned. I lost a job. Tears come down. What, am I not a man because I cried? Why would you suggest that I'm crying like a little girl? See, that makes
Hmm.
no, we know this. We taught that as a boy. A boy said, boy, stop that crying. Stop that
Yep.
crying, boy. You're crying like a little girl. That's what we
Hmm.
do. That's our culture. That's what we do in America. Right?
Hmm.
Now, I know we've gotten away from that. I pray that we've gotten away from that. But when a boy hears that, a young
Hmm.
boy, he immediately subconsciously says, okay, I can't cry. And so when men go to funerals and mother passes and not a tear, and you wonder why. Well, you've trained him to be a robot. You trained him to be the Marlboro Man. This false image of manhood in America is real.
Mhm.
know, you've never watched a cowboy movie. A great macho man comes into town. He stops off at the bar, gets a drink out of a dirty glass, looks at the local prostitute, takes her upstairs. You don't see any family men loving their wives, men hugging and having children. And that you don't see heroes
Mhm.
in our motion pictures of being family men for the most part. I'm saying, and so we create this. I say we create this culture, and we expect men to be sensitive, caring, share their emotions, be willing to be open when you tell them not to. And mothers have raised their boys this way. Now, again, I know this is a discussion about our show, but
Mhm.
this is all relevant. I'm trying to give you ladies, an insight to how men think,
Mhm.
why we have been trained. Now, in in my, I don't want to bring too much of this, but in the church, of course, now we're learning what it is to be a true man. Not this false image of manhood that's been portrayed. And as such, I've been in tune with my emotions, my feelings
Mhm.
there, and I'm learning to be a full, complete person. And so, anyway, that's what that's
So when it comes to men saying yes, if they really want the help, and do you think, and like I said, I on here there have been some comments from
mm,
men saying, I'm been in a sexless marriage for 8 years, but I can't. I want to be a part of your show, but I can't because when I go to work the next day after it airs, I'm going to hear from the boys. You know what I mean? But you're going to, but I want you to tackle a sexless marriage in your show, Dr. Gail, but find somebody else to
yeah,
help me. You know what I mean?
I know what you
And
mean.
the thing is that I, I need somebody to step up to the plate and set the standard for men, right? And I understand that you guys have been taught, suck it up, don't cry, all of those things. But in order to get the help that you need, sometimes you have to step out your comfort zone. Would you agree?
Absolutely, trust me. As I mentioned with our group,
Hmm.
um, we didn't trust one another at first, and there was
Yeah.
very little personal information that was shared. But as it went on, as you began to see that, oh wow, I went to this meeting and I shared some pretty personal things about my relationship, and it never got out. Everybody began to feel more comfortable, and so what we need for a show like this to
Hmm.
succeed is a man who is comfortable in his space and willing
Hmm.
to help other men, to create a forum, although it's international and nationally aired, but
Hmm.
a environment, a forum by which a community of men and women can come together to help relationships.
Hmm.
This is a unique undertaking that
It
we.
is.
It's
But
unique.
I'm up for the task because marriage is not being shown in its totality
Yep.
on television, right?
Yep.
It's not. And I'm not, I don't want ratchet. I want transformation, right?
Right.
I want people to really see that. I know they had a bad marriage, but they invested the time. They rolled up their sleeves. They learned some new tools and strategies, and look at them now, and I can do this too.
Right.
That's what I want because I didn't have that, right? I didn't have it. And the thing is that I know how to fix it because I was the one who created it.
Mm.
Not that Gil was some little saint, but I was definitely off the chain in my marriage, and that's the reason why I started doing what I do. Right? Hi, Sally. How are you? She says she loves the strong, silent type man. Anyway, but I just want to appeal to men, and I want to appeal to the women that are watching. This show is just not about the sex, right? Because so many people are focusing in on that. Marriage encompasses so much, right? I have dealt with pastors that have dealt with infidelity. I've dealt with pastors that have dealt with, financial crisis. I have dealt with couples who are trying to blend families and deal with the dynamics of trying to blend a family. I have dealt with the loss of a child, and that is created, tension between the husband and the wife. It's so many different dynamics that are going on in our households, but people are just throwing up the towel and either becoming very complacent, or they're walking away. And that's not the will of God for us to walk away. I'm not saying stay in an abusive relationship where getting hit upside the head by the woman or the man. I'm not saying being verbally abused or anything like that, because I don't stand for that. But I don't think that you said I do for the rest of your life, and then when things get hard, you don't even try to fix it. You just walk away, right? Or you stay complacent and be in a sexless marriage for 8 years. Now, if there is some illness and some sickness and stuff like that, you still can build intimacy without having the sex, and be closer than some people that are having sex that don't even talk to each other afterwards, right? So it's a lot of different dynamics that God wants me to bring to the forefront in these marriages, and try to help them make them whole as possible. But we need the people in order to do that. And so do me a favor, if you're one of these people that are listening to me and you want to help me transform marriages, go to Dr. Gail tvshow.com and just fill out the form, and our casting director Sean will make sure that she gets back with you. And again, you guys, I want to see you guys win in your marriages. This is a huge undertaking, and I know that I have gotten so much support from so many people that are saying, I can't wait for the television show. I can't wait for the television show. We can't wait for the television show. But if you're in the DMV area and you would like to be cast in the show, please go to drgailtvshow.com. If you want to be a part of the virtual TV spot. We're still working on that spot, but still go to drgailtvshow.com and put in there the virtual space, because we will have that space eventually as well. Is that correct, Sheree? But I want to say something that's not correct. But I know that Sean had spoke about that you guys were going to make that happen as well.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
absolutely. And I also will, if I may add, that if you're a couple that would like to remain, keep your privacy, obviously we have to have your real name to be a part of the show to apply. But once the show begins taping, we always can come up with a fictitious last name for the family name.
Yeah.
Have to share your private information as it relates to people knowing that, hey, you're a part of this show. Now, obviously, those who know your face will know who you are.
Yeah.
But if there's certainly, if you want to keep your name, your information private, where you actually live, all those kind of things will be held in the strictest of confidence and will
It
not.
surely will. Heather has a question. She says, "Why is it so hard for guys to communicate how they feel to their wives? Why is it so hard?"
Well, Heather, thank you for that question. As I stated earlier, it's about trust, and men have a tremendous difficulty with trust. We're very sensitive. I believe we're more sensitive than women as
Mhm.
it relates to that, our private information. And so, if there's any issue that a spouse or a significant other may betray that trust, they will be reluctant to share or to communicate how they really feel.
Mm.
I think, I don't know if you were around when I shared my um, past experience. I had something with a young lady, and I shared how I really felt. I was really feeling down that time, and I shared that. I was vulnerable before her, and she betrayed it.
Mhm.
From that moment on, I never trusted her again. She became my wife, my first wife. And but I never, nothing deep, nothing heavy was ever shared with her again.
Wow.
So that's, yeah. And so we might have been on Gail's show by now had she lived.
But but communication in marriages sometimes is hard, especially if you have been hurt, right? And that's for a woman or a man. You begin to guard your heart, especially if, like you said, if your trust has been betrayed, especially if you've been vulnerable and it's been used against you in a later conversation or a later argument. Any of those things, Heather, can make a woman or a man not want to really communicate their feelings. And so, like I said, our words have power. And even though we can apologize, we can never take them back. And so I had to, go back and really get into a communication class because, like, I'm an open book. One time Gail told me, Gail, you communicate with the world better than you communicate with me. That was a gut punch right there. I'm like, excuse me? He said, yeah. And so I went back and I took a communication class, and I learned some communication techniques that I pass on to all my clients because, again, your words have power. And I was one of those people, anything that popped in my head came out of my mouth. And so I learned one of the techniques is what I'm about to say, do I have to say right here and right now?
Yes.
Because when you stop and think, a lot of times you won't say it the way your brain has formulated it, right? So a lot of times I have to count to 10, so I won't say something out of my mouth crazy, or I won't say something that is going to make him guard his heart and not be vulnerable in another space. Okay. And so again, Saray, thank you so much for being on here. You guys go to drgailtvshow.com. We would love, love, love to have you on the show. And again, thank you guys so much for rocking with me on my YouTube channel, on my Facebook, on TikTok, all of those things. I really appreciate you guys. And you guys have an amazing, amazing night. And again, thank you so much for getting on here from around the world. I appreciate you. I don't take you guys for granted. The show is coming. It is coming, and I'm so excited about it. And I just am introducing some of the brains behind making my dream and my vision since 2013 come to pass, and it's coming to pass in 2023. So I'm excited about that. All right, you guys have an amazing, amazing night.